From a movie.
Hello. Okay. First time we're doing this, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And
My
we've been
name's
drinking a little too.
and we've been drinking a little bit, yes, as well. So my name is Joshua,
I'm Lisa.
and we're basically just friends that like to go to the movies. And so we thought we'd start up a movie review podcast or whatever the hell you want to call this, where we talk about the movies that we've seen. And we want to call this podcast
Real bitches.
REEL. Get it? Okay.
Yeah.
That's the idea. So we're
Well,
the real bitches. And so for our first inaugural podcast, I guess we'll say, we're going to talk about the movie The End of Oak Street, which we saw yesterday. And it
yes.
stars Ewan McGregor and Anne Hathaway. And you want to give them the premise of the movie?
Well, the premise of the movie really has to do with a neighborhood, Oak Street, and they end up getting transposed, or I don't know what the word you want to use here, to another time.
In fact, dinosaur times, which
Dinosaur time.
is not really a spoiler because they show that in the trailer of the movie and they show that on the poster of the movie. So we'll try to forewarn everybody if we're going to hit something that's a spoiler. But I say try because we're a little bit drunk. And we never know what we're going to run into when we have these little discussions about the movies that we're seeing. So anyway, yes, the neighborhood it gets transported back to dinosaur times. And the subtext of the movie, I guess, is that the main characters are a family of four, so husband, wife, and then two kids, a boy and a girl kid. And the husband and wife are having marital problems ahead of time, and then they get transported back. So that's part of the plot as well. So after the premise, I don't know. I think we should start with just what our general opinions of the movie are.
Well, I mean, for me, I was a little bit more bored. I always find time travel plots to be lazy. I feel like they're lazy. Now, in this case, it was a little bit forwarded thinking, so to speak. I'm forward thinking. So I guess it wasn't as lazy as it could be. But I found myself to be a little bored with the whole time travel thing because they didn't really explain it.
Yeah, at no point in the movie do they attempt to explain like how all of this happened
Right,
or anything like that. It basically just happened. And
right.
the movie is about how this family sort of deals with the situation once they realize that they got transported back in time. And it's the family starts in the 1980s.
Yes.
So it was already set in the past, so to speak, even before you got
Right.
started. Even before they went back to dinosaur times. And I would say my I was entertained by the movie. I think it's a very good popcorn kind of summer movie, but you can't go into it thinking that it's going to be anything like stunning or spectacular in any way. Basically, after a little while, I kind of just said, "Okay, I'm just going to turn my brain off and kind of enjoy this movie." And see what happens. I think it had a lot of problems in terms of like plot and
A lot
pacing.
of problems.
Yeah, and in general, I would not necessarily highly recommend this movie. I have to say I was a little disappointed because I felt like the premise had a lot of promise. You know, how would the family or a neighborhood of just ordinary people deal with being somehow transported back into the time of the dinosaurs? And so I went into it hopeful. But it did not actually pull it all off in the end. So, what do you think some of the problems are with the movie?
Ah, so many problems. I mean, first of all, it's set in 1982. Okay, so or 82, 83 in the early 80s. So obviously no cell phones or whatever, and the so-called family unit. Okay, so some of the family unit part was like I guess maybe they're trying to show this is the way it really was that families were getting pulled apart and they weren't exactly the same. I don't, really, I don't know what they were trying to say because It was so boring. I was bored to tears. You're lucky I didn't fall asleep in the damn thing. The only time it got interesting is when a dinosaur ate somebody. Okay, then it got a little interesting. Um, but I mean, they never give an explanation to how this happened or why this happened, just that it happened. Um, I found it interesting that they did reference Carl Sagan, one of my favorites. Love Carl Sagan.
Oh yeah, he was an influence, at least on one of the characters. He
Right.
was an influence.
Which was important because that is because of that character that they were able to maneuver whatever it was that they did. I don't want to give away too much, other than it was because of Carl Sagan and that person's involvement with Carl Sagan that it helped a little bit.
Yeah, that helped with the plot a little bit. Helped him figure out maybe that there was a chance to get home after the after this all happened. I guess my biggest issue with the movie was sort of plot and pacing. It was like
Mm,
there would be moments where you're just like, okay, let's move this along, and then they'd have a section where, like you said, somebody was getting eaten by a dinosaur.
then it was
Um,
great. Then I loved it.
So then there was a little bit of action going on, and you got a little bit tensed up. I mean, there were some really good scenes where the people, the neighborhood was dealing with the dinosaurs and
Right.
stuff like that. So there were certainly some good scenes. But in no way does it even come close to like Jurassic Park, the original Jurassic Park.
No,
Um,
no.
the pacing was off. It'd be boring and then exciting, and then there'd be a lag, and then it's exciting, and it just kind of bounced all over the place. Um, Same thing with the plot. I did not feel like there was. I mean, initially the plot was okay. We figured out that we're in dinosaur times. Now we got to survive, and they kind of started with that, but then they didn't go anywhere with it. Like the mother was just like, okay, we got to worry about food and water and all this kind of stuff. How are we going to survive here? But they did nothing with it.
Right.
There was basically just the line.
Not for nothing, Ewan McGregor really phoned this one in. I mean, they could have just put CGI Ewan McGregor and he could have done it somewhere else because yeah, he wasn't acting. He was just like kind of there pretending his English accent or American accent. Yeah, why was he in there? They could have used somebody else for less money.
Probably, yes. Well, I get that feeling about the entire movie. I think they were like, okay, everything else is weak. Maybe we need to pull in some big name actors to bump this up because I mean, in terms of genre anyway, it was kind of like Stranger Things. They didn't need big ass actors in Stranger Things
Right.
because the plot was so good. The premise was so good, and here they sort of had a cool premise, but I think that the script and everything after that was a little bit weak. And so I think they brought in the big name actors in order to bump it up and hopefully bring people to the theater. But unfortunately, they needed to have a much better story in the long run, and they could have had a big story. One of my big beefs about the watching the whole movie was an entire neighborhood is transported into dinosaur times, and at no point does anybody in the neighborhood attempt to like band together with anybody else or help each other in any way. And I mean, there literally was just some random neighbors that pop in every now and then and do something to sort of advance the plot a little bit, like the bullies that bully the younger boy at one point. They pop in
Right.
and then they're gone and they never show up again. And
Well,
like, why aren't people like, I don't know. I felt like they should have involved a lot more neighbors. Every now and then you got they're running somewhere, and in the background you see a bunch of neighbors running from dinosaurs, and that was about it in terms of the neighbors. Plus, I mean, after a while you started seeing a lot of dead neighbors all over
yeah,
the place.
which was
But
great. I enjoyed that part. Yeah, go dinosaur, go dinosaur.
They did have a wide variety of dinosaurs in the movie. I will say that. There were
Yeah,
dinosaurs everywhere, all different kinds of dinosaurs.
right. But I
Um,
think some of the dinosaurs did not exist at the same time. But that's
I
a
was
minor
wondering
part.
about that.
Some of them did not exist at the same time. But that we're not going there.
I mean,
That's getting a little crazy.
technically you could let that go in something like Jurassic Park because they were genetically,
Right.
bringing the dinosaurs forward, and they could just pick from any different time.
Right.
So you can kind of let that go.
But these
But in
people
this
were
movie, no, they were actually supposed to
transported.
be there.
Right. So, yeah. But the other thing I didn't find entirely realistic was the 1982, and they're having the block party people together. That didn't happen in 1982. It happened in 1962. It happened in 1952, but not 1982. It just didn't happen, which I think was why they didn't have neighbors ganging up together and saying, "Hey, we need to pull our resources and do this." I think 82 is people like
A
okay,
little more isolated in
more
82.
isolated. Yeah. Of course, that could have been me in 1982. So I don't know what I was doing in 1982.
I wasn't very old in 1982.
You know what? You can bite me. You can bite me.
I
Anyway,
remember having block parties in
yeah, we did
1982.
not have it in 1982.
I lived on a block in 1982. It was just one street with like 10 houses or
Didn't you
whatever.
live in
We
like
never had
10
blocks.
different blocks in 1980? Because you had like a lot of schooling or a lot of places to
No,
go.
that was late 80s where I started
Oh,
bouncing. Early 80s, no, we were in one spot for a little while.
oh my God, I'm so old.
And then and then another thing is that I couldn't figure out whether what this type of movie was this supposed to be. Was this supposed to be a horror movie or was it supposed to be a funny?
Right.
They were all like all over the place.
All the previews were horror movies. Insidious, I don't know, 27 or whatever number Insidious is. And they were all horror movies. And I didn't know if this was supposed to be a horror movie, but I don't know.
I
I don't know what it was.
No, I can't classify it because you would want to say it's a horror movie along the lines of Jurassic Park. I mean, Jurassic Park was kind of leaned in that horror direction. But this one wasn't even close to that. They had like way too much humorous elements in this one, in my opinion, humorous elements to classify this as a horror movie. But like you said, all of the previews, all of the trailers we saw before the movie started they were all horror leaning, and I was just like, it kind of feels like they think this is supposed to be a horror movie. It did not feel like a horror movie to me at all. It was a sci-fi movie just because it had that sci-fi time travel element to it. Um, but it just never settled on what it wanted to be, what type of movie it wanted to be, in my opinion. It was all over the place.
Yeah, it really was. And even the solution to, at the end was just really, really.
How they get back. Are we willing to go into some spoilers here?
I don't think we should.
Oh
I
no.
don't think we
Okay.
should.
Okay. I won't do any spoilers
We should
then.
probably talk about our rating system. We should end it and do our rating system, I think.
Okay. So explain our rating system.
Okay, so for us, we have a tendency to drink. I know. But we're thinking that how many shots would you give this particular movie? Meaning, the more shots makes it better because it's a bad movie. Do we do what, 1 to 5 shots or 1 to 10?
I say 1 to 5.
1 to 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, if you say
Modify.
you gotta have 5 shots to see this movie because it was really bad and it'll make it better, 1 shot means you don't need any shots because it was just a great shot, or no
It was
shots.
a great movie. Yeah. We
Or-
could do no shots. Yes.
Right. So,
It's
in
possible.
this particular case, I would say for me, it is at least 10 shots.
From 1 to 5.
Because that would make it better. It's bad. I'm sorry, it was bad. To me, it was bad. And then they phoned in the acting, the writing. I don't know. It was like they started writing it and we're going, "Oh, this sounds like a good idea. We need to put this in there." It has nothing to do with it, and it just
The plot was all over the place.
Actually, I think I saw one of the plots in a TV show somewhere. But anyway, part of the plot. So for me, 10 shots.
10 shots? Okay. Well, I would basically say the same. If we were doing 1 to 5, I would say yes, you probably want to have like 4 or 5 shots in order to in order to fully enjoy this movie.
Yes. Get drunk off your ass before you go see it.
Yes,
And
yes.
then you will enjoy it.
And then it's fun. Like I said, it's basically just a fun popcorn movie that, wasted 2 hours of our summer. And we got to talk about it afterwards, which is always fun. So that's our Real Bitches review of The End of Oak Street. Tell us what you think about it. Okay, and thank you for joining us. Hopefully we'll do a whole ton more of these as we watch more and more and more movies.
Sure.